For the last 20-ish years, I've planned a family trip. I love to travel, and this is a way to include my siblings and their children, 10 people in my passion, and a fun way to spend time together. I cover the cost of the tour and transport to the destination, and they cover the tips and incidentals. So far, we've gone to Turkey, South Africa, Vietnam, Croatia, Panama, Mongolia, and Iceland. It's typically about $4,000 to $6,000 per person and requires months or years of planning and budgeting. I polled the family about their availability about 18 to 24 months before the planned trip. My nephew, late 20s, has RSVP'd yes for the last 4 trips, only to back out at the very last minute, the week prior, so that I couldn't recoup the cost of his fare. And the reasons he doesn't make it are never acceptable for a travel insurance claim: work emergency, he's an accountant, friend's wedding, concert tickets, high school 10-year reunion. I'm planning a Galapagos cruise for October next year and decided not to extend the invite to my nephew because he's unreliable. Now most family members are outraged, and though not actually boycotting the trip, are incessantly vocal on their displeasure at my targeting my nephew. I've tried to compromise by requesting that he give me a deposit with the plan that I return it if he actually comes, but this only seemed to make people angrier. I mentioned cancelling the entire thing, and now only my younger sister is speaking to me. She tells me that the family is in uproar about my selfishness and discussing writing me off permanently if I cancel the trip. I'm in tears and just don't know what to do. I love my family. Was I the idiot to exclude my nephew? So in the last 4 years, your nephew has wasted somewhere between $16,000 and $24,000 of your money, and no one in your family thinks there's anything wrong with that. They clearly think you have endless amounts of money and feel entitled to it. I would absolutely refrain from planning further vacations for them, since they're treating you so badly. His parents should be mortified that he's repeatedly done this and offered to cover any non-refundable costs, since he hasn't had the grace to do so himself. You are definitely not the idiot. Since your nephew is an accountant, he can calculate how much money his uncle lost on his dreadful excuses. And they have the nerve to call OP selfish. OP, the issue for your nephew is that he has no skin in this game. He didn't find out about these conflicts the week before, he just didn't tell you about them. Sounds like when it came down to it, he just didn't want to go on these trips. I was thinking the same thing. Who wants to hire an accountant who's so frivolous with other people's money and so incapable of pre-planning? Your family's collective entitlement is very concerning. This is the definition of being taken for granted. So when your nephew backs out at the last minute, he gets grace. But when you set your boundaries with plenty of notice, you get shamed. Something deeper isn't right with this entire dynamic. You would be the idiot if you went forward with the trip as planned. Cancel the trip for everyone except you and your younger sister. Stop being used. Agreed. They are abusers who are using you for your money and ready to dump you the moment you aren't useful to them anymore. Tell them you won't cancel the trip, but everyone can pay their own way. When they threaten to cut you off, say, "Nice, saves me the cash." It's time to make new friends and travel partners. Your family doesn't care about you. They're only around for the fancy trips and your money. My nearly adult son was diagnosed recently with a wheat allergy. He'd been battling gut issues for a few months, and we finally found out that he couldn't have wheat. I immediately went into research mode. I read labels, learned all the names of wheat, and bought hundreds of dollars of food and snacks for him to try. I took him to Whole Foods and organic markets for hundreds more. I bought wheat alternative flours and began cooking gluten-free. He still had digestive issues. So back to the doctor. Only issue, wheat. Come to find out, he's spending his paycheck at school on biscuits and gluten-filled snacks. He goes to a friend's house and bam, eats McDonald's and wheat-filled junk. The doctor and I warned him that this is only mild moderate, but it can get worse. He came home with urticaria and hives last weekend. He ate cake and pizza at a friend's. He's not 10, he's nearly adult. I can't be with him everywhere and police everything he eats. He knows what wheat is and what to look for, and we literally learn together. The school said they won't cut him off even with the doctor's note because he's old enough to police himself. They provide alternatives, but he won't eat them. He's stubborn. Tonight we went to a gluten-friendly restaurant and I got him a gluten-free meal of $26, ours average 15 to 18. I made sure he was good with the selection. He didn't eat it, but instead snuck off other people's plates and snuck bread. My mother-in-law is an enabler. Just a bit won't bother him 10 bites later. He stunk up the car on the way home and tried to deny that he ate wheat, but the guy can't lie. He wants to stay home due to gut pain, but I'm getting angry because he's causing it. Am I an idiot that if he's going to eat what he wants, I'm just over making an effort and spending way extra money when he's not even following the diet? I've been begging, trying and cooking gluten-free for over 9 months and have spent thousands trying to find whatever I feel tastes pretty good as an alternative. I don't want to be uncaring, but I feel like I'm wasting time and money that we don't really have when it makes no difference. Am I the idiot for refusing to cook gluten-free or take my near-adult son out to eat? I'm gluten-free because I have celiac. I'm going, not the idiot. Please stop buying gluten-free alternatives and just stick with fruit, veg, protein and rice. Your kid isn't taking this seriously and it's causing him severe damage. Personally, I'd take him back to the doctor for a sit-down, but in the end, you can't force him. It's annoying, but you're doing a good job. I suffered for years. I just don't understand why he would like to be sick. Maybe therapy? A lot of people do this. I knew an actual adult, like 30, who was medium allergic to tomatoes and strawberries. Not super sick, but definitely uncomfortable. They would still eat them on occasion. I don't know if it was for the attention or what. I know someone who would literally rather keep an EpiPen on hand than give up barbecue sauce. Her reactions get worse every single time and she still does it. I'm scared that one day it will kill her or put her in the hospital. Food is really important to many people, especially those who struggle with food aversions and don't have much to eat to start with. For them, losing one thing can be too much. You'd be surprised how many people think that way. This is a complicated issue. I genuinely think you should go to therapy with him. He's choosing to poison himself, but that's very different from you doing it. If you stop doing gluten-free meals that you know he's eating, then you're actively harming him. It's also his health, his choice, but you are the idiot if you actively poison your kid. Good luck, Mama. It's a tough spot. My 27 male family, me, my brothers, parents, uncles, aunts, cousins, grandparents, etc., gathered after my grandfather's passing. I took the plane from Sweden and 2 days off work to be there with them. My brothers told me they were bringing their girlfriends and a couple close friends with them, and I knew that my aunt and cousin were bringing some close girlfriends too, so I asked my mother whether it would be appropriate to bring my best friend as well, to which she said yes, very optimistically. I've been abroad in Sweden since I was 18 and I began working here 3 years ago. I'm also a PhD student, so I don't see my family often, but I talk to my parents and brothers every day on the phone and visit on holidays. I told them I had a very good work friend, Eric, 28 male, whom I met during my masters and currently work with. I spoke about him a fair amount since he's the only person I hang out with, and my mother said multiple times that he sounds great and would love to meet my best friend someday. I paid for Eric's ticket and he was free during that Thursday and Friday interval anyway. When we were at the airport and about to leave, I called my mother to tell her, and she even spoke to Eric on the phone, both excited. At the gathering, however, I was mocked relentlessly by my uncle for having to bring my best friend instead of a wife, who also said I was a negative example to my younger brothers because I wasn't married. My aunt implied multiple times that I was gay and that Eric was, in fact, my husband, since Sweden is woke and you never know who's upside down there. My uncle agreed, also mocking my, and implicitly also Eric's job. We both teach mathematics at university, saying real men don't need to rely on those gay books but their muscles to make money, once again implying that Eric and I are womanly. My mother stayed completely silent while I was being mocked, to the point she was even chuckling at the apparent embarrassment Eric was being subjected to as well. I took no personal offence to those ridiculous comments, but shaming my best friend, who was apparently very much welcome to join, was unacceptable. I was mortified and spoke up multiple times, warning that Eric and I would leave, but Eric insisted we stay until the end. When I confronted my mother about why she remained silent, she acted dismissively. She said it was no big deal and that my uncle was right to some extent. Then she confessed that she wasn't happy about my occupation and marriage status either, and that bringing Eric did imply that I was gay. She continued to say that it's the Swedish environment and woke people who turned me gay, and that she wasn't as mad because it wasn't my fault. I was shocked by how narrow-minded this person I looked up to all my life was. She was the one to encourage me to study abroad and pursue mathematics, so I really didn't know what to say besides calling her a hypocrite and telling her, "I don't care what you think, but don't embarrass my friend this way. I didn't know how you could stoop this low." It's been 10 days and she's been calling me non-stop, but I haven't picked up. Eric told me it wasn't that bad and that I should forgive her and give her a chance to apologize. I don't believe him when he says he took no offense. It was mortifying. I'm still so angry at them for making it seem like I brought my best friend there to subject him to ridicule. I miss being on normal terms with my mother, and I'm well aware that I have to have contact with her sooner or later, but I don't know how to approach this. She's never apologized for anything in her life and has the classic "I know best so I can do no wrong" mentality, so I'm sure it will be a really tough conversation. Did I overreact? Did I misread her intent? Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. The fact that she stayed silent while your uncle mocked you and Eric and even seemed to endorse those comments shows a lack of support and respect for you and your friend. But wow, your family sounds like heck in a handbasket. You know what? My husband spent 3 months in Sweden after graduation. Sorry, no, he didn't come back gay. Wow, it's bold to blame that on an entire country. OP, she's your mom. She's supposed to defend you and treat you with love, not to support your bullies no matter what age. I'm so sorry. She is not sorry she agreed with your uncle. Why bother listening to a hollow lie of an apology? Your family humiliated you and your best friend. They told you exactly what they think. They will only accept you if you fit into the little hypocritical box that they demand you occupy. Live your life without them. Your mother is only sorry that you refuse to acquiesce and kowtow to be the person she demands you to be. What an insufferable, intolerant family. I hope you're not financially supporting this bunch. So my husband, 29, and I, female 27, just recently got married. We spent almost a year planning the perfect wedding, taking the right precautions, etc. One of our first rules was that it was a no-kid wedding. We wanted an environment where we wouldn't have to worry about children running around, getting into things, crying, etc. We made it very clear on our invitation that we didn't want anyone to bring children under a certain age. We did, however, decide that we wanted to bring our daughter, infant, and I wanted to hold her during the reception and photo taking, and then have a family friend drive her home and wait for the babysitter to get there before coming back. Before we settled on that friend, we asked a few people. One of the people we asked was my husband's close friend, Darren's wife, Jessica. She declined because she didn't want to drive, which worked out fine as we were able to find someone else. So on our wedding day, after we told everyone several times about the no kids rule, she showed up with her preschooler. I was obviously taken aback, but I asked her about it. She told me, since I was bringing my kid, it was okay if she took hers. Honestly, I was furious. I tried to stay calm and tell her that this was a child-free wedding and she couldn't let her kid run around, but if she took her kid home, she was welcome to come back. She started yelling at me that since I had a kid, it wasn't fair that she couldn't have hers. Her son at this point was already climbing on things, as she just let him run free. I told her that this was her last chance or she'd need to leave. She rolled her eyes, sat down in a chair, and just watched her son run wild. Eventually, her husband Darren convinced her to get her kid and leave, but it ruined the whole first part of my wedding. It's been a few weeks now, and I've been thinking maybe I'm in the wrong. I said no kids at my wedding, but brought my own. Many people in my life have also been saying that it was hypocritical at the least. So am I the idiot for bringing my daughter to my own child-free wedding? Not the idiot. Reading the early part of your post, I figured that the baby would be there for, at most, an hour for picture-taking purposes. It's your wedding, so child-free me would be willing to cut you some slack on bringing the baby. A baby is a lot less active than a preschool child who appears to have no discipline at all. Do not invite Jessica to anything you organise again. This is not a friend. Yeah, I would consider the friendships. At this point, it's not about the rule, it's about the disrespect. It's your wedding. Her child being there and your child being there aren't in the same universe. You want your child there for a couple of photos is one thing, but her bringing her child and letting him run around free, I don't have words for. To top it off, she dared to yell at you. I, 42 male, have 2 biological children, Anna, teen, and Jake, young teen, from my first marriage. When their mother passed away, she left them a substantial inheritance, which I've carefully managed in trust funds for their future education and other needs. My late wife and I always prioritised their future, and this money is meant to support their goals, whether that's college, starting a business, or something else they dream of. A few years ago, I married my current wife, 39, who has 2 kids from her previous marriage, Ethan, teen, and Sophie, tween. I love my stepchildren and treat them with the same care and respect as mine, but their father is still in their lives and provides financial support. While I contribute to their day-to-day needs, my wife and I never discuss blending the finances meant specifically for my children, Anna and Jake. Recently, my wife suggested using some of Anna and Jake's trust funds to help with Ethan and Sophie's upcoming expenses, such as extracurricular activities and potential college savings. She argued that it's unfair for my biological kids to have such a financial advantage while her children don't. She believes that as a family we should pool resources equally for all the kids. I told her that I couldn't do that. The trust funds were set up solely for Anna and Jake, and it's not right to take money from them that their late mother intended for their future. I offered to work with her to find other ways to save for Ethan and Sophie, but she was upset, accusing me of playing favourites and not fully accepting her kids as part of the family. The argument escalated when her parents got involved, suggesting I was being selfish and that it was my responsibility to treat all the children equally. Now even Anna and Jake are aware of the situation and feel awkward, worrying that they're being resented by their stepfamily. I feel torn because I love my stepkids and want them to succeed, but I also want to honour the intentions behind the money their mother left for them. So, am I the idiot for refusing to share my biological kids' funds with my stepchildren? Not the idiot. Divorce the wicked stepmother who tries to make you steal from your kids. This is a much bigger red flag than you seem to understand. Make sure your will doesn't put your kids' inheritance in her hands because it will disappear. Exactly, it's illegal. Using their funds on other kids isn't just wrong, it's theft. That is Anna and Jake's money and it is for no one else's use. That's what a trust fund means. It's money held in trust for a named beneficiary. It doesn't belong to OP, so he can't dispose of it. And as the trustee, he is accountable for how it gets expended. If he gives it to the other kids, Anna or Jake, or their heirs and creditors could sue him for the return of their inheritance. My only bit to add is to consider that stepmom thinks her kids' extracurricular activities are more important than respecting the final gift a mother could give her children. If it was for a sudden health emergency or something, it still wouldn't be right, but it would at least be understandable. But no, she's trying to steal from her stepkids so her kids can play after school. That's how highly she thinks of OP, his kids, and honestly, their late mom. Their pain is less important than her kid playing football.